Let's take a close look with Chuck Robbins. He's a straight shooting chairman and CEO of Cisco Systems to find out. Chuck, welcome back to Mad Money.
Hey, Jim, it's great to be here. How are you?
Good, Chuck. So this weekend, I'm watching Jensen Huang at his Computex, at the giant keynote that he was doing in Taiwan. And he has a system that he favors, which is InfiniBand. But he said, listen, you know what? People want Ethernet, too. You have to have a partner with Ethernet. You have to do Ethernet. Cisco is that partner, aren't they?
Yeah, Jim, that's right. We started our discussions with Nvidia. Jensen actually called me. I think I've told you this before, back in December of last year. We started working on what a partnership would look like, and today we actually made the first announcement for our enterprise customers with an integrated solution to help them easily deploy AI applications through a combination of our technology, Nvidia's technology, and some storage technology from a company called VAST. And so very well received. Nice automation layer on top of it. We'll be going into field trials soon this year, and we're excited to get the first solution out there. And
could you explain to people that it's not like these are equal, InfiniBand and Ethernet? Ethernet is gigantic. It's what most companies use.
Well, there's really no other provider of InfiniBand besides NVIDIA. So every enterprise in the world, every web scale, all the traditional cloud infrastructure, all of it's Ethernet, which leads those customers, our enterprise customers, they do want Ethernet solutions over time because it's what they know. There's multiple vendors. They can actually create a competitive environment for it, and it's standards-based. And so that's where we're going to see this market go over the next few years.
During the recent Cisco Live event, the worldwide leader in IT and networking announced a new partnership with the AI giant Nvidia. And this partnership will see the two companies collaborating to launch a new AI data center solution aimed to simplify the deployment of generative AI applications. The event showcased the Cisco Nexus Hyperfabric AI cluster solution, which integrates Cisco's networking capabilities with NVIDIA's computing power and AI software. This partnership between the two companies shows their shared commitment to advancing enterprise AI capabilities, as it's expected to offer enterprises the necessary tools to build intuitive AI-native networks, anticipate system failures, and address issues promptly. So, in today's video, we're going to tell you everything we know so far about the partnership between Cisco and NVIDIA and examine the comparisons between the two companies in order to determine if NVIDIA is really the next Cisco, as ARK Invest CEO Cathie Wood previously said. But before we do that, if you want to keep up with NVIDIA's latest updates and keep up with the stock market's latest news, you can follow our Twitter account. We post multiple times daily about the biggest changes and catalysts in the market, so click the follow button if you don't want to miss the newest market updates.
John, what we all kind of keep trying to get our arms around is how long can NVIDIA continue this pace? And I know that you have on the street relatively high expectations going forward. We talked to one analyst this morning who said that the market cap for NVIDIA could exceed $10 trillion by 2030. Does that make sense to you? Do you think we're going to continue this pace?
I think NVIDIA has an extremely bright path ahead of itself, right? You know, we're in the very early stages of the generative AI cycle. And, you know, like a lot of chip companies, you know, you get into this cadence where they're just releasing, you know, version 2.0, version 3.0, which are just, you know, slightly better versions of, you know, version 1.0. But if you look at what NVIDIA is really doing, they're really still taking really substantial shifts in architectures, right? They've gone from making chips to kind of integrated, you know, AI board solutions to now fully integrated kind of heterogeneous compute server stacks, which is, you know, allowing them to kind of maintain their leadership above their competitors.
NVIDIA and Cisco are looking to provide a new AI solution which is designed to provide it visibility and analytics across the entire AI infrastructure stack, enabling enterprise customers to build and run generative AI models and inference applications with ease. Cisco's cloud management capabilities facilitate deployment, management, and monitoring of data centers, colocation facilities, and edge sites. According to a recent Global Networking Trends report by Cisco, within the next 2 years, 60% of IT leaders expect to adopt AI-enabled predictive network automation, while 75% plan to implement tools for end-to-end network visibility. The Cisco Nexus Hyperfabric AI cluster is a response to these trends, offering a unified compute and networking fabric that simplifies IT operations. The solution features Cisco Nexus 6000 series switches, Nvidia AI enterprise software, Nvidia Tensor Core GPUs, and the vast data platform. It aims to streamline the development and deployment of AI workloads, providing a single console for design, deployment, monitoring, and assurance of AI infrastructure. Some select customers are already anticipated to have early trial access in Q4 of this year, with general availability expected to follow shortly. Cisco is also introducing AI-related skills training and certifications for IT professionals and partners to support the deployment and management of AI infrastructure. The company said that this partnership is part of their broader vision to automate and simplify networking, and it underscores their efforts to empower customers through AI-driven innovation, potentially opening new revenue opportunities. But how big are these new revenue opportunities? Let's find out. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Investocracy. Nvidia's CEO, Jensen Huang, recently said that AI is doubling every 6 months, and it's clear now that it's going to move way faster than that soon enough. His is why Nvidia is so interested in enterprise AI, as it expects all companies in all industries to start developing or using AI technologies. Indeed, the market for enterprise AI is rapidly evolving, and analysts expect it to witness a compound annual growth rate of 44.1% to reach $270 billion by 2032. On the other hand, the generative AI market is massive on its own, and it will definitely cross $1 trillion by 2030. So there's a massive opportunity for both Nvidia and Cisco thanks to this partnership, and the two stocks are ones that investors should definitely watch out for, especially Nvidia Stock, as no company embodies the AI boom more than Nvidia, whose GPUs are being used in data centers to power AI applications. Nvidia's growth has been extraordinary. The company grew its revenue an incredible 262% in Q1 to $26 billion, with data center revenue soaring 427% from a year ago to $22.6 billion. And with Nvidia's growth, investors have benefited, with the stock more than tripling over the past year. Not surprisingly, the AI revolution has led to comparisons between the internet boom and bust, and the company that Nvidia is most compared to is Cisco, which was the backbone of the internet. Cisco became the world's most valuable company in 2000, but its stock crashed soon afterwards and Cisco investors never fully recovered, and the stock still trades well below its all-time high today. But will Nvidia and its investors face the same fate as Cisco? Let's get right into it. But first, if you made it this far into the video, thank you. These videos take a lot of effort and time to make, so if you enjoyed them, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. This goes a long way in helping us grow. That said, back to the video.
Absolutely, stock of the decade, so close to surpassing Apple. Maybe stock of like the generation when we go back to .com. There's really nothing even comparable from a concentration standpoint. The 30% of the S&P now that's in the top 3 to top 5 is even deeper, more concentrated than it was in the 90s. But some of these analogies seem like they might fit. Like many have proposed, this is Cisco back in the day. You've got a chart showing some of the differences, though, which is that the valuation for Nvidia on that bottom panel is still fairly contained.
Well, this is a big deal because every retail high net worth client wants to know, what do I do with NVIDIA? If I don't have it, how do I get it? If I have it, do I trim it? We look at the AI infrastructure build out in a very similar way to the PC ecosystem and revolution in the early 80s and the internet revolution in the early 90s. Dan Niles did some great work on Cisco's revenues and valuations in the 1990s. And we think there's a pretty good analog there. Nothing's perfect. But we took a look at forward PE on Cisco throughout the 90s. And as you can see from that chart, it's a little tight. But before the dot-com bubble hit, it was trading pretty consistently towards the high end of about 30 times forward, which is a pretty healthy multiple. So we took a quick look at NVIDIA, and it seems to be bouncing between 20 and 40 times earnings. But remember, the revenue increases in NVIDIA are substantially higher than they were even back for Cisco in the 90s. But we've got to have some way to manage through adding, trimming, and dealing with NVIDIA because, just taking it at first blush, it looks extremely expensive. But we're a little bit more optimistic and going to use volatility to continue to add to that name.
We can't deny that there are some similarities between NVIDIA's rise to the top and Cisco's, but there are differences as well. Back in 2000, Cisco was primarily a hardware business, and this is important because software revenue is more recurring and higher margin. And this is where NVIDIA differs from Cisco. NVIDIA's Coda software platform has been a key differentiator for the company since it was introduced in 2006, even though NVIDIA gives it away for free. Coda allows NVIDIA GPUs to be programmed directly, saving customers time and money. By the time alternatives evolved, NVIDIA GPUs had already become the industry standard. This created a wide moat for the company. On the other hand, Cisco in 2000 was just getting started when it came to software with the introduction of its Cisco Works 2000 network management software at the same time its stock peaked. Now, software is about a third of its revenue. NVIDIA and Cisco's customer bases are also very different. Cisco was heavily selling into the cable and telecom industries, where companies typically carry meaningful leverage and have unpredictable capex cycles. Meanwhile, NVIDIA operates in the data center industry, where companies like Amazon, Microsoft, and Alphabet preside.
So, we just have this Computex trade show. It's a Big Daddy trade show, Taipei, Taiwan. At that show, of course, Jensen Huang is always going to be, the marquee speaker, or at least one of them. So we only announced Blackwell in March. And here we are, less than 3 months later, and we're announcing Rubin and also giving some hints to the product platform thereafter. So right now we're covered for essentially 25, 26, and 27. And this is really unprecedented when a semiconductor company, particularly dealing with such sophisticated products and manufacturing, goes to the next platform. This is usually a couple of years. They are cranking these out on a yearly cadence, which is going to keep them ahead because that is really tough to do. Now, at the same trade show, AMD announced product. They're racing hard, and so did Intel, and so did some derivative plays on Qualcomm and ARM. But here's what I think about the competition. I think NVIDIA will stay ahead. It's a very, very big pie. AMD is a well-regarded company. They will get a slice. But NVIDIA will still stay top dog. Intel is a company, at least on the manufacturing side, that has been the gang that hasn't been able to shoot straight for about 20 years now, Joe. And so I think that they will make a comeback in PC-oriented CPUs, but all their claims about AI, maybe they get there, but I will believe it when I see it because they don't have a lot of credibility with me. As of now, I think NVIDIA is still in a comfortable position. The stock is trading at about 32 times next year's earnings, and they should grow their EPS at about that rate. So I think it's no longer a relatively cheap stock. Right now it has a PEG ratio of 1. I think it's approaching fair value. I wouldn't be aggressive buying it here, but I would continue to hold it. I think these threats that have come out in the last couple weeks are purported threats. And at the end of the day, NVIDIA will maintain a big, big position, very lucrative, although AMD will take some share.
This gives NVIDIA a more stable customer base, which is another positive for investors. In my opinion, NVIDIA won't at all suffer the same fate as Cisco, and comparing the two companies doesn't really make a lot of sense. Right now, NVIDIA trades at a much lower valuation than Cisco did at its peak in March 2000. At its highs, Cisco had a nearly 200x PE ratio. NVIDIA, meanwhile, trades at around 67x PE and has been growing its revenue more quickly. For instance, in 2023, NVIDIA's revenue surged 126%, while Cisco's revenue rose 55% in its fiscal year 2000. The main risk facing NVIDIA right now is demand drying up, But this is unlikely to happen anytime soon. In fact, right after the company's Q1 earnings call, Jensen Huang said in an interview that demand for the company's flagship H100 chips is still so strong, even as they prepare to launch the more powerful Blackwell GPUs later this year. He said that the company's customers want to put Nvidia's GPUs to work right away and start making money and start saving money. He also said that H100 demand grew throughout the quarter right after the company announced Blackwell, so this should tell you that Nvidia won't be seeing a demand problem anytime soon. Jensen added that demand for both platforms will outstrip supply well into next year, with the complexity of these chips also challenging the company's efforts to keep pace. If anything, that means huge revenue streams for the next 2 to 3 years or even more. Nvidia is currently one of the best growth stories in the market, and while investors need to be aware of the risks, AI still appears to be in the early innings, with nearly every company in the world talking about it. So investors can continue to ride the wave of Nvidia's great growth. But what do you think about Nvidia stock? Is it a buy at the current price? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section. And don't forget to tell us what your valuation for Nvidia is. If you would like to know what companies like Nvidia have been up to these past few days, go ahead and click on the next video on your screen. See you there.